A friend of mine just generated $420,000 in a single day. And just 10 years ago, he was literally carrying boxes in a warehouse for below minimum wage, meaning he was making around $400 every single week from just carrying boxes. Seen his growth over the past 10 years from the very, very beginning to where he is now, where he's generated a great amount of success. I've seen the setbacks that have held him back that the average person would have quit on. And I've also seen what's been able to push him forward, because one setback turned into the next generation of wealth, to the next generation of wealth. And every single time he hit a hurdle, he was able to come back 10 times stronger. So today I want to share with you the lessons that I've learned from watching him, from being a good friend of his, to see his growth to the point that he is today, and some of the stuff that you can take as part of this to be able to implement in your own business. My name is Sami Meibar, and over the past 4 years, I've worked with dozens of companies to help them scale their sales teams. My entire focus of everything is I just focus and dial in on how to scale sales teams, the systems behind the scenes, how to get them to generate more sales, and also keep their clients happy. I've worked with people like Tony Robbins, Graziosi, Maxwell Finn, Ashton Hall. I've worked with marketing agencies, SaaS companies, and today I wanted to share some insights that are really going to be able to help you implement some of these tools into your sales team yourselves, or if you're a leader, how to implement this into your own internal thinking. To give you a quick backstory, my buddy Jeffson is originally from Haiti. And for those of you who don't know, Haiti is not a very wealthy, well-off country. So when he moved to the States originally and he was working, all he was doing was literally carrying boxes in a warehouse. He got the job because he spoke very little English and he was starting to get his way here, and slowly learning the language, he got a little bit better. And after some time, someone offered him a sales gig. Now, the sales gig was originally selling wireless for Verizon. So it was a door-to-door sales job. So he had seen what other people were able to earn in this position, and he decided, I'm just going to quit and actually give this a full shot. What's crazy about this is because of his lack of English, he was standing in the background and learning from the other sales rep there doing door-to-door knocking. Mind you, this was door-to-door knocking in New York City, one of the most, not the friendliest city in the world, if you want to think about it that way. It's just not somewhere where you're gonna have like the warm welcome like the South or even the West Coast. Very, very like blunt, like why are you knocking on my door kind of situations. So throughout it, he was just getting a handle of how the process worked. Now, his biggest skill that I've seen, whether it's been in door-to-door sales or what he's doing today, is he's a very, very big learner. Meaning everything that happens, he learns, but he's also the fastest implementer that I've ever seen. So as soon as he sees something, you can just see the gears in his brain flickering, and he immediately takes action. As a quick example, I went away on vacation recently to see my parents back home, and in a 12-day period, I had given him an idea just before I left. And in that 12-day period, he had come back and not only launched a new product, printed it, filmed it, and put it out there, but it already started generating sales on an idea from complete inception to making sales within a 12-day period. So when he was doing door-to-door sales, he still had that mentality in place, and he started adapting the way other people were selling. Now, because of his lack of skills, he had to learn and go through the blunt of the process of just getting rejected over and over again. And he actually didn't make his first sale for the first 2 months, meaning he was knocking on doors for 2 months with no longer the guaranteed income of $400 a week of getting a paycheck of, hey, you kill what you eat, or you eat what you kill, and you have to keep on knocking. And it took him 2 months to get his very first sale. But as soon as he got his first sale, it became kind of addictive of like, okay, this can happen. I can actually do this. I'm not as bad as I think. And throughout that, he just got better and better and better at it, to the point that he started getting more reps under him. And he eventually built a 50-person sales team underneath him that was able to have an office downtown Brooklyn. He had reps go out and sell for him, and he had leaderboards, and he was running the sales team meetings himself. He grew this quite big. Now, after that, Verizon ended up switching up some of the commission structures, some of the ways he was getting paid. So his income went from zero all the way to a manager with 50 sales reps underneath him, all the way to them changing the structure. So he had to completely switch gears and do something completely different. Now, the average person would be like, I spent all this time, I spent all this effort, energy. This is the income that I'm used to, and I'm going to just drop it for no reason. Yes, if something doesn't make sense, you need to be able to say, I need to shift, I need to adapt. And so rather than, butting heads or trying to argue with Verizon, and good luck arguing with a big company, he said, I'm going to find something else. So he started learning Facebook ads, and he decided that, hey, if I could sell something from back home online, I would probably be able to make sales and find a way to make, a profit margin on a product that I sell that's from Haiti, bring it to the States, start selling it here, maybe produce it, package it, and sell it. Started running ads to a product, became really good at ecom. Similar story though, he scaled the business in ecom, started generating a lot of sales. At that time, he was slowly letting go of his Verizon deals. And then again, Facebook just hit him with a strike. They banned his ad account and he started a second ad account. He got banned again. It wasn't an approved list of products that he was able to sell on Facebook ads. So he did everything he could until eventually it burned to the ground. He was no longer able to sell that product. So he ended up saying, well, I've got some knowledge in this space. What can I go ahead and do and use this for? Maybe I don't sell that product. Maybe I find a new product to sell. So he got into the world of dropshipping. Now at a time, 2018, 2019, dropshipping was huge. And so he was going online, finding the products that were hot products, putting them online, selling them, and doing very, very well. And at the time, he was generating maybe $200,000-$300,000 a month, $400,000 a month. He was generating some good money for there. What's great about this is he had so many opportunities along the way to say, you know what, the world's against me. My luck is terrible. I can't believe this happened to me. But instead of that, he just said, I'm just going to keep going. And I'm going to find the next thing. I'm just going to keep growing. Once again, dropshipping became the new thing for him. He became, a big name in the Haitian community for dropshipping. And a lot of people came to him to learn. So it didn't just become him drop shipping products. He was also showing people to learn how to sell. And I remember at the time, because I had an offer myself and I was selling to the English speaking communities, I was selling a product, I was selling a coaching offer, and I was telling him, man, my people don't have money, and like I'm attracting the wrong buyers and they're all broke and this and that. And I was complaining. And he turned to me and he's like, man, I sell to Haitians. And I don't know if you know, but not the wealthiest community in the world. And I sell them things from anywhere between $7,000 to $25,000 to just learn to do what I do. Because if he was able to generate $200,000-$300,000 a month and he could do it consistently, a lot of people wanted to learn from him, so they just reached out to learn from him. So without even trying, he went from a dropshipper to a dropshipping coach. And a lot of people started to learn from him. Now, for those of you who don't know, dropshipping started to become more of a thing of the past, where the dropshipping world didn't end up putting a good taste in people's mouths, because a lot of the products sometimes, fulfillment was difficult. You would get some good products, but then like if you find the good products, you would have some problem with suppliers and you'd have to go back and forth trying to find good products. A lot of times there was a lot of bad quality products, so you'd have to play around with it. And it was a very, very cat and mouse game until you found the right product. It scaled for a while. It became an old product. Eventually, that model died for him as well. And again, he could have said, oh man, I'm just going to quit now. I've made some good money. I can just rest. It was fun while it lasted. But instead, he figured out, hey, what's actually working in today's world? And while he was thinking of this, he started seeing that people no longer one-off products or cheap products that you can just buy online. They wanted a quality thing that they wanted to stand behind. And so he learned the power of branding. Now, meanwhile, Jeffson was going to a ton of mastermind events. Every year he was paying for education. He was being coached by anyone you can think of, from Frank Kern to Myron Golden, like anyone you can think of in the marketing world. He sat down and consumed all their knowledge. This guy went from barely speaking English to reading more books than I've read myself and studying under so many different people so he could just learn, but implement just as fast as he learns. He would fly through books, fly through courses, fly through masterminds, and he would be the fastest person to implement. I've never seen someone consume so much content, but also implement just as well. So on top of all that, when he started seeing the power of branding, he was like, how do I implement and work on this? So what does he do? He goes out and starts creating his own personal brand. Meaning he said, hey, the world no longer is wanting to buy a one-off product. If I want to create something, I want to create, Sami's skincare products. And so he would find that the average product out there was being sold in the market as a 90% similar to everything else. So if you go and buy a skincare product, 90% of the ingredients are the exact same. The only things that end up changing is you say, I want to add some shea butter and I want to add some coconut and I don't want to add this scent, and then suddenly you can label it and put a different packaging on the front. So he started white labeling products, meaning he would go and get a skincare product, put a face behind the brand, and that personal brand would grow. scale it, and then they would have something going. So as an example of this, he ended up working with a company called Curls Dynasty. He helped Curls Dynasty scale because there was a woman behind the scenes who was, selling a curly hair product, and he was able to create like good labeling for it, package it, and again, most of it is like 90% of the same ingredients, 10% gets changed behind the scenes. So he started doing white labeling products, and then he scaled that, and he kept scaling that, and then he got smarter than that, and he said, you know what, not only have I scaled one product, I've scaled a bunch of products, different people, different influencers, and I've been the person behind the scenes. What if I was able to help people start their own product and at the same time buy the factory where this stuff is being made? So create the skincare product or the hair care product, and then it's made internal. So when he started getting coaching clients, instead of just saying, hey, I'm just gonna show you how to sell it and you can wish you the best, I'll show you how to sell it, I'll scale you, but when you're starting to sell, you're gonna need to come back and buy from me because I'm making your products. So he created his own factory, literally bought the factory with the manufacturing of skincare products, hair care products. He also got involved in supplements and scaled that like crazy. What's fascinating to me completely throughout all this is every time he would hit a plateau, he would go ahead and scale 10 times stronger than the previous ceiling. So if you think about the average person, when they get complacent, they get to their, average sales, and then they hit a wall, and then they just don't keep going. He kept on seeing different visions that were existing outside his reality. Now, his reality is a person who comes from a poverty background with very little knowledge of the English language to being able to say, you know what, forget those limitations, I'm going to figure things out. Fascinating to see. Again, once he was able to build all this, I'm going to get to the idea of how he got that $420,000 in a single day. He said, I'm going to keep scaling this and growing this to the point that he's now got it down into a system where if you're looking to start a business, an e-com brand, that's the world that he knows. He'll show you how to launch your own personal brand if you've got an influence, even better, and then create your own product. Obviously, it has to be something that people like, and then you grow this and scale this. To the point now where he does these 5-day challenges where he tells people, hey, if you want to learn how to create your own brand from scratch and everything, I'll show you how to do this. Now, the last one he did was a couple days ago, and me and him talk pretty much every day, and he was telling me how I always ask him, like, how are sales this week? And then one day he said, yeah, we did $420,000 in sales in a single day. Fascinating. Going to see his growth from beginning to end. Now, the $420,000 is also just one part of the sales. There's so many other factors that he has, so many other cool things that he has. So $420,000 isn't just, he makes that and then chills and hangs out for the rest of the month. There's other sales happening behind the scenes. But I tell you the story because it really is not just a great reminder for you, but a great reminder for me, and even just someone who's seeing this go throughout this. The average person will hit a few obstacles, or usually their first obstacle, and quit. And this is especially apparent in weight loss. That's the best way I can describe it. When someone's losing weight, and I know this because it happened to me during COVID. I gained 36 pounds unnecessarily, which is a lot more than I would like to have gained. But when I started realizing how bad it was, I wanted to lose the weight. I'd lose 5 pounds. I feel great. I'd hit an obstacle and regained 4 or 5 pounds. It was very hard to just push back and be like, oh man, I'm going to lose that weight again. I'm going to push through. So the mind is really weird. When you start seeing progress, you start seeing like the first little bit of success, you automatically just go and say, I can do this. And then the first obstacle, you get down on yourself, you're mad at yourself, and you're like, oh man, I can't believe that. So you get progress, you get the results, slight bounce back, give up. That's the average situation. But you can also see this not just in weight loss. You can see this in business. And I love the fact because business and even athleticism can be related a lot, because there's a lot of people who tell you, oh, you know what? Back in my day when I was in college, I could have gone pro. I was playing football, I was playing basketball, but I could have gone pro, but that injury that I had, or I had a kid, or you enter some sort of excuse. And they always have something as the reason why they weren't able to go pro. And they always live in the past of what could have been. And you always see people who really think in that sense of what could have been in the past. Now, I don't want it to be a way where it happens in business where you can say, back in the day, I was on track to being a very successful entrepreneur. When I was your age, I was building my own business, and until I got that first obstacle, and said like, oh, but I could have gone pro. So don't let those words of I could have gone pro in football, basketball be the same words that you use in business. One of the most powerful quotes I've ever heard came from an earlier mentor of mine. I was talking to him about some of my challenges, and I was struggling to make sales in the business, and I just didn't know where to go, and I kept on thinking of all the different shiny objects I could be focusing on. And he turned to me and he's like, "Yeah, you need to sell your way out." And I didn't really understand. And he said, "Anytime I've hit an obstacle, anytime I've struggled with something, I always sold my way out." And it was fascinating to me because this is a skill that Jeffson had learned better than anything else. That skill is being able to sell your way out of anything. You hit an obstacle and you crash back down, or you lose progress, and rather than giving up, you're able to say, how can I just sell my way out of this? And if you know how to sell, and if you can be a good person in sales, you will be able to sell your way out of any position, any situation, any bad thing that happens to you. In short, if you know sales, you will never go hungry. And this really, really hit home for me, because no matter how many resets you go through, no matter how many run-ups or run-downs you go through, if you know how to sell, you can sell your way out. And I say this because it's a reminder for me to realize that with my ups and with my downs, the ability to sell has been the one thing that has kept me going. And sometimes I have great months, sometimes I have low months, sometimes I have mediocre months. But knowing that there's a skill that no one can take is what keeps me going, what keeps me excited, because I know I've seen myself do it, I've seen other people do it, and if I know how to sell, I am unstoppable. So while marketing is great, while customer service is great, if you're able to sell, you will not ever have to struggle again. Now, if you're watching this and you're a business owner who has your own sales team, or you're a sales manager of a sales team, and you're looking to get more tips on how to scale that sales team, how to grow it even better, I've worked with some pretty cool names, so I've been able to go ahead and create a gift that I want to give out to you today. I wrote a book that's called Building a Pro Sales Team. It's really the 11 rules that I've seen in most businesses, the ones I mentioned earlier, that take them from good money to breaking through to getting to that great money ceiling. The idea behind this is there's needle movers that you can implement today into your business that are going to really, really change. Some of it, yes, is mind shifts, but there's a lot of stuff that's tactical stuff that you should be implementing to your day-to-day so you can start seeing that growth. I've already paid for the book. All I ask for you to do is to cover handling and shipping, and I'll send one of these books over to you today. So click down the link below and ask for your address. That's going to take you to a page where it's going to give you some checkout, also some more social proof so you can get the idea out of this, and I'll go ahead and ship you one of these today.